What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be testing out cheap versus expensive art materials. We're going to be seeing if it's really worth your time and your money. First, I'm going to be testing out acrylic paints, and I'm also going to be testing out oil pastels, colored pencils, and any other cool art materials that are at the store. I'm not fully sure yet, but we're going to be testing them out. We're going to see how much of a difference they really make to just improve your art, make it a little bit better for that little bit extra money. We'll see if it's worth it. So first, I gotta go to the dollar store, and then after that, I gotta go to Michael's and pick up my art materials. So let's go. All right, guys, so just got back home and I have all of the art materials right here. And here's the Dollar Tree one. Also got some colored pencils here. All right, so let's get started with the first one. Okay, so first I want to get started with the acrylic paints. So this is the expensive one, and this one is the cheap one. I tried to get the closest color match I could find, but there's a slight difference, but it shouldn't be too bad. These are around, they're almost $10. I think it's about $8 for each tube, and of course these were $1. So first I want to test out the consistency of the paint to see how well it could spread on the paper. Well, you can immediately see it. Oh no. This one feels like jelly. It doesn't feel smooth. Okay, so let me test these out on the sketchbook to see how well they can spread. The color coming out is not bad. It's just not smooth. So let me clean the brush. Now let's move on to the expensive one. Yeah. This one's a bit darker than the dollar store one. Yeah, pretty good. Also, something I want to highlight is the smell. The smell of these two are way different. I'm gonna let this one dry out a little bit. This one's already dry. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a little bit more. The color coming out is not bad. It's just the weird consistency of the paint. It just doesn't feel right. Also, something is, look at the bottles of the paints compared to each other. You can clearly tell which one is better than the other just by looking at the bottle. Okay, so this is blue, and I also got orange. So let's flip to the next page and try out the orange. Okay, this one is better. I think the other one was just old, so that's why it was textured so grainy and like that. Wow, this one is actually brighter. The cheap one pops out more than the expensive one. That's a lot more vibrant of a color. This orange, when I mixed it with white, it almost turned into a pink. It's more like a salmon color now. So you can see the difference between the expensive and the cheap one. Now it's time to test out the colored pencils. One I got from Dollar Tree is just a very simple 12-pack of mixed colors. This is over $100 from Amazon. Let's start with the $1 colored pencils. It's a very nice design. I like that liquid mark. Okay, let's start with red. Okay, the pencils are definitely not bad. They're just not very bright on the page. It's very light when you're coloring on. Yeah, these pencils are not mixing very well. You can definitely see why they only cost $1. Let me try the purple. Yeah, it's about the same. Now I actually want to do a side-by-side comparison with the two different colored pencils. I'll make one box with the $1 pencil and the next box with the expensive pencil. So these are the Prismacolor pencils. Now let's do a side by side. Wow, you can already see the difference between the two. This one's just smooth. You can already see. It just pops right off the page. So you can clearly see a difference between the expensive one and the cheap one. So next round we'll be going to oil pastels. Now at Dollar Tree they didn't have oil pastels, but this was the closest I could find. They're crayons, but they're skin tone. These are the oil pastels I could find at Michael's. Okay, so these are the crayons. Let's test them out. Start with the expensive one. Okay, let me try the other one now. Oil pastel's naturally gonna come out darker on the paper, but these crayons are actually not that bad. Yeah, it's definitely not as bad as I thought it would be. I'll try my best to fill in those little spaces. Whoa, this one you can barely even see it. Only if you really look super close you can see. Yeah, you can barely even see. Okay, so those are the crayons. These actually did better than I thought that they would do. They're not super bad, but they're not super great either. These, of course, they're gonna come out good anytime that you use them. Now let's move on to the last part, which is gonna be markers. So now's the final round. Let's see how good these markers are. These are the Dollar Tree markers. And these are some markers I've had from Prismacolor. So let's test them out on the page. Very basic look. Nothing special. Wow, these are actually really good. It's a classic marker. Now Prismacolor right next to it. Only difference is the lines with the cheap one and the Prismacolor, so you could really get away by using the cheap marker. So now let's try the green. Man, I don't know. I'm liking the cheap one a little bit more. I'm liking the color of it. Yeah. Man, I don't know. I'm liking the color of the cheap ones better. The Prismacolor ones are nice though, because it doesn't, you can't see the lines with your coloring. But I might have to give this one to the cheap one. Even the red isn't as bright as the cheap one. I guess these ones won over the Prismacolors. Those are all the materials I got. Now you guys can see the difference between getting cheap versus expensive art materials. It really just depends on how much you want to work with the materials, because the cheap ones obviously aren't going to last as long as you would want them to. The expensive ones are more reliable, so you can work with them for many projects without having to worry about getting more. So that is it for this video, everybody. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.